Hello and welcome back to session 80 of our Pathfinder 2nd Edition campaign. How's everyone doing?
Very good, thank you.
Except for Richard, I won't ask you that. It's fine. So if everyone is ready to go, is feeling comfy, no Zach today. So let's just see how we do. And in that case, so we last left our heroes in the city of Lenora, where you had helped to drive back the invading armies of House Caedus, Caden, Ignis, away from the Emerald City. And also where you defeated Darren Caedus at the dam. And after the battle was over, the Tempest Brand, led by High Inquisitor Kesslin, demanded that Henning was put on trial. But Prince Althisius sort of agreed that the Padrin would instead hold the trial and do it the Sidan way. So the trial date was set for a week, and the High Inquisitor went away, which then also after that, Cadell was killed and turned into a different person entirely, Visiri, where you're not quite sure, obviously, what to make of him. You also met with Morna after the battle and sort of took her around into the temple of the Whisperleaf Collective, where you got in contact with the trespasser who told you basically all the things you needed to do in the gloom in terms of how to fix this problem, i.e. get the weapon Moonbreaker, the other half of the weapon that Calcifer found in the temple, which is able to control the soul gates, which may also be able to bring her back and also defeat Nerizatar at the same time, who is now a god. So what else did we get up to? Does anyone else want to?
Calcifer went to back to Lunarian.
Oh yeah, you went back to Lunarian and got that box that Cadell told you to get, which was for Isolde, and there was a bit of discussion around whether to open it or not. But I think you settled on maybe let's just give that to Isolde.
I think that was where we left. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was something else I wrote. There was a big Drake on the way back.
Yes,
and it looked like it could have been one of the officers from the city
Navorlus.
Navorlus, that's the one. Yeah, the elf was kind of quite pale.
Yeah.
There was kind of large shield-like thing on his face, which we'd seen in previous creatures of the gloom.
Yeah, like it seems to be some sort of like brand or marking that, or like mask that shows that they are loyal or part of Narsamel's forces, I guess is the best way to describe it. But they come under the moniker of the Gloom Stalkers. So we're in a period of downtime now. So you just had a night where you caught up with the Laura as well, and Cyan caught up with some of his Azira, Kazuhiro, where they sort of filled you in about what they've been up to since the battle. Alora having danced the night away. You have a period of sort of chilling and wake up the next day, which is now the 28th day of summer. So you got a week until the trial, which is on the 34th. So I know that you said you've all gone around and you wanted to do some bartering and buy some stuff, and most of you have let me know what you want. Is there any last bits that you want to get?
Sorry, I forgot mine, but I've got a list. I came up with a list of two things: a shadow signet and a couple snapped leaves. They're fairly basic items for this level, but
are they common? It doesn't matter if they're not, but it's just good to know.
It is magical invested. I don't know. It doesn't say.
Can you send me a link to them?
I can. This is going to be this. Sorry.
It's all right. I just want to have a look quickly.
Richard, did you put all my stuff on my sheet?
I think so.
Sick. There was I was gonna get the diplomat's badge as well.
Shadow signet.
Diplomat's badge, huh?
Yeah.
If your next section is to cast a spell that requires a spell attack rolling its armor class, you'll choose Fortitude DC or Reflex.
Nothing.
That seems alright if you want to get that. So the way that, because it's a war, I explained this to Richard, but there is, I think, did I say a 50% increase in price at the moment?
Yeah, you did.
What did I say? Yeah, so everything is 50% more expensive if you're getting it quickly. If you don't mind necessarily getting it after you go to the Gloom and come back, it'll be normal price. But if you want to get it like on expedited delivery, then it'll be
Oh, I don't mind.
a tad more expensive. So it'll be whatever you get will be 50% more.
Okay.
It's just part of the reason why that is because the war's obviously going on. They've just had a siege, and things are. People aren't feeling very secure at the moment. So.
Sure.
Yeah, you hear people in the market talking about how inflation is ruining Adana. All right. Is there anything you wanted to get, Henning? Is there any armor or anything?
I'm trying to so armor in this game, right? Because I've seen on like the forge thing, worn and then also worn as armor. What's the difference? You can wear it, but not as armor. I don't know if that's just for.
I think some things that don't count as armor because they're just clothes, right? They don't like affect you.
Oh right, okay.
Or it might be something
Maybe
else.
go for some plus plus 2 studded armor or so, or like plus something studded armor.
Yeah, so if you want an armor potency +2 rune on a set of armor, I mean, you can get that for your current armor.
Yeah.
That'd be 1060 GP, but obviously increased by 50%. So.
It's probably worth it, yeah, if I could get that.
So that'll be 1590
Yeah.
GP, and then that'll be a +2.
So I'm just making.
I don't know if you've got a +1 on there already.
I don't think so. I think it's just normal armor.
Okay,
so armor potency rune +2.
Yeah, you should be able to search for that, and then you might be able to just drop. Is that how you do it? You just drop it on your sheet.
You can just edit the armor, I think, and then it lets you add.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is what
I have sleeves of storage,
Sleeves of storage.
which is a bag of holding, but in your sleeves.
Okay.
I already had it, so now I have 2 bags of holding.
All right.
I think they're a lot less storage though.
Yeah, they're only 5 bulk.
Yeah, you can just fit like rabbits and bunches of flowers up there, and wands and stuff. All right. Is there anything else you want to do during the week?
I suppose there's a conversation to be had about whether or not we want to go back to the Senya and pick up the other 3 or 4 kind of crates with stuff. Probably with Cyan. But that's
feel free. This will be the session to do it if you want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer it in thingy, but I imagine we're all together and.
Yeah. You're just in the inn. Or like you've woken up the next day in one of the ships, the sky ships that you're staying in.
Cool. So yesterday, I mentioned there were a few chests left underneath Cadell. Sorry, Viseri. Is it Viseri?
Viseri now.
Viseri, under Viseri's home. Judging by the haul I've managed to get so far, it might be worth a couple of us going over to deal with that. The risk is there might be a big dragon flying around, but I hope it is going away at this point.
Nick says, surely it's more likely that there's going to be things there now. The forces of the gloom are getting settled in, I suppose.
Yes, you're probably right, but I feel like the reward might be worth it, no? And it might be no bad thing to get a bit of experience fighting these gloom creatures before we head across.
What does everyone think?
I don't know.
Well, we don't have to do it today per se, but maybe we buy things first, and we could use it as a way to test out some of our new stuff.
Okay.
Yes, could work.
I assume Cyan's okay with that as well, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's your all of your choice. Like if you want to go and do that, that's fine.
Another
Um,
option.
Nyx is obviously going to double down that it's probably going to be more dangerous than when you went before.
Yeah, we could perhaps invest in some invisibility potions or something to reduce the chances of alerting anyone as we go through. Granted, it is entirely possible creatures of the gloom rely on other senses other than sight, but maybe there are things we can do. It might be useful to understand to what extent they rely on sight or other things if we at least try and go a little bit prepared. I would take silence as a positive, but Nix, do you know of any of how these gloom creatures might operate? I mean, we've seen them a few times. Their sense of sight felt pretty good, but I do not know.
I don't know how they operate. They might just have the senses of the elves, of like an immortal elf, because that is what they're born from. But I don't know what foul magic Narsamel has invested in them.
See. Okay. That is helpful.
But I suspect they have some method of communication which is quick, and will get you in trouble if you are seen by them. You could get swarmed quite easily, I suppose.
Understood. Well, I'm happy to go off and look for some potions to mask us.
What's the plan? I don't understand. You're going
Yeah,
to the
feel like-
gloom now?
No. The Lucenia, when they went there yesterday, they're
Lunarian.
Lunarian, thank you.
It was quite the trip with Lasagna.
That is correct. Lunarian. There were some chests I was not able to get because I'm no thief anymore, apparently. So it might be helpful if we go together, so it is safer. And retrieve what is left.
Okay.
And the point that Nix made was that it is highly likely that the creatures of the gloom may be skulking around, and so I will try and find some potions to mask our scent, so to speak, to maybe make things.
Potions don't mask your scent.
It was more a point to say that well, I don't know, maybe there are potions that do mask our scents. I will have a look.
Okay.
It's called perfume, Nick says.
Rolling around in the mud.
Rub
I'm just wary.
all over you.
I'm just a bit
Like
wary.
powder.
We are refined aristocrats now.
Well, that's
lineage, but
kind of my point. That's it. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I'm a refined aristocrat. You are a son of a merchant.
A very wealthy and powerful merchant.
Yeah. Yep. Doesn't mean anything here though.
More money than.
I'm thinking. These chests. What's special about them?
Well,
We have lots of money. We can buy what we need here. If it's just going to be some trinkets, then
I mean,
what's the
there
point?
are some interesting things. We don't know what things Cadell had. That could be something interesting. It feels pretty low effort, no? We have nothing else to do.
Plus, we risk. Yeah, we do sort of risk the trial if we leave the city. Like, we're not supposed to be gone.
The heading is not supposed to be gone.
True. I could remain here if you wanted
It really needs Cyan and maybe one other person if we are being and if we could be particularly stealthy. I'm happy to go with him.
Okay, I'll stay here.
Well, thank you for your cooperation.
Well, I can. What? I mean, I'm not exactly stealthy, am I? And I can cast you a spell before you go.
Okay.
I'll teleport you there again.
Okay.
Nick says, if you're gonna go, it was. If you described it, so it was dangerous earlier. How are you gonna get back, Cascus? You gonna take the horse again?
I had not thought that far. We could not invisibility ourselves on the horse and leave, no?
What spells can you cast?
I could use a scroll of invisibility.
No. What spell lists do you have?
I can't really show you. It is in me. I have no spell that would be immediately useful to
No, but if you have arcane or occult type spells,
Is a divine spell list.
you're
yes. Divine, yeah, is the core one. Yeah.
useless.
Thank you.
The way I see it, if we think that we're lacking on equipment, we got plenty of coin to just buy it, and that's, I don't want to ever say no risk because there's always some risk in everything, whatever. But like, realistically, we can just gear ourselves up here, and then we give ourselves the best chance possible of actually achieving our goals. We go there, it just doesn't seem worth the risk to me.
Have you ever considered being a bureaucrat? You are very risk averse.
I had what about? Wait, where is it? We give you some scrolls. And then you come back. So you only need. Oh, for fuck's sake! Sorry, it's all arcane or occult. Useless. So annoying. Dimension door or teleport would be helpful. And then if you take
Like I'm getting loads of stuff in my hands at the moment.
No, well you can't use teleport, but Henning and Calcifer can. So why don't we give them I can. And then I could if you both take a scroll, it'd be good to have a scroll anyway. So we might as well buy them. And then one of them goes with you. I'll teleport you there, and then you can teleport back.
I just look at other people.
But then you'll have to bring Henning or Calcifer. Calcifer's not stealthy. Henning, medium stealthy, I think.
I'm also not meant to leave, though. If they find out I've left.
So Calcifer, if you go...
If I go, we're gonna get found, probably.
Oh, but I could, make you invisible.
You underestimate my ability to be noticed.
There you go, no armor.
I'll fucking die.
Oh, I don't want to go.
I just don't see the value in it.
War.
If the group really thinks it is not worth it, fine, I do not care, but it is just like, we do not know what to do there. There could be something interesting.
If you want to go, I will give you a, I will teleport you there. And I will give you invisibility for 10 minutes.
The problem is less me, it is more that I need somebody who can pick locks.
Yeah, and Cyan, he can go too.
Okay. So Cyan and I are going to go you're going to teleport us there. We're going to sneak into the room. I need to somehow give him turn him into gas, and then twice. Is that possible? Can't I get like a scroll of gaseous form?
Let me have a look. I do actually already have a scroll of gaseous form. You're welcome to have, but it is. Why can't I pop it out to see? It is primal, occult, or arcane, so you also can't cast that.
And can't Cyan? I don't know.
No, I don't think he has a spell list. He can. Okay. He might have primal, but I don't. It would take a long time to check because I don't actually know. Okay.
Okay, fine. But I can't think of a way to get Cyan down the basement, to be honest. So, if it's just us two, without it blowing up.
Yeah, I'll say because because it's a big risk. Yeah, I think like Nyx is making it clear that it is going to be really
Yeah, I
risky.
don't want to like
so-
drag. If you well,
Like
Mike,
if the
you're
whole
saying it's
if the
really
whole
risky.
party is going, then that's one thing. But if only a few of you are going, like it was a big risk last time, and you sort of kind of just by the skin of your teeth got out of it.
Fine, I see. The weight of the world is pushing against Gaskus on this one. He
No,
will-
no. It's fine. If it's really a big risk, I'll teleport you.
Well, I like if I'm bringing Zach's character and Mike's saying it's going to be risky, I worry that if something happens to him, I'd be liable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just go
I-
by yourself.
If I know Zach, he'll probably not want to do it.
Hmm.
So I haven't asked him about it, but
The way I see it as well, like we, you know, we got the
knock spell.
personal, you know, we got the plot item. The rest of it's just stuff that you could buy. The rest of it's probably just stuff you could buy. And we have so much money that the risk reward is not really there.
Vehicles.
Okay, fine. Right, we'll just do the shopping, shall we, today? People want to do, and then if other people have things they want to do, we can do that.
what
And we say to
downtime
Isolde.
actions? So what were you making, Calcifer? Because that's going to take. Is that a couple of days worth of downtime?
I don't remember specifically which bits were made and which bits were bought.
I think those are like 2 or 3 things you said.
Yeah, I think there were a couple bits that would have made sense to buy.
Yeah,
Sorry, to
Okay.
make. But
that's fine. I won't make you roll for them, but it will just take you a couple of days of downtime to do that. So
yeah, I can
As long as you
guarantee
fit
them with assurance anyway.
yeah, that's fine.
I would like to, in the downtime, read the Side Dinar again to do some more research. Specifically, trying to look for anything about Phoenix stuff. And that like
Sure.
dungeon that not dungeon, but the place where we got the Phoenix from.
Okay. Make a religion check for me.
Or can I do a Side Dinar lore check?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh yeah, because I have that skill. Yeah, and that 20 for a
Nice.
37.
So there's not any. So as you're flicking through the side now looking for things, there's not really much in terms of direct references to phoenixes. But there are passages about Eretzar's defeat of the Azira.
Ooh.
It specifically talks kind of about just how do I put this? It's sort of the way that it talks about the Azira is not that the Eretzar ever considered them a threat, more that they were maybe like an ally in the past. That in times before the Sidenara began, because the Sidenara kind of begins with the story of the foundation of the world and then the wars of the gods and stuff, and then it sort of skips to Eretzar's life after he finds Zornikar. So there's like quite a big gap in between. And the only references you can come across is that there seems to be missing things maybe to explore about the Azira's past relationships with the elves, because it's not entirely clear that the Azira have always been enemies of the elves.
Did I say Azira?
Well, it talks about it talks about the Fox people and like, you know, that they no longer are around, and that their king Atoran was defeated by Eretzar.
I said the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's where
Oh,
you
right.
found the Phoenix.
But it doesn't say anything actually about the Phoenix.
It doesn't specifically say anything about the Phoenix, no.
What book am I on? What book am I on now? 'Cause there's like loads of them, aren't there?
Yeah, probably.
There's 12 books.
Yeah, probably like 6, maybe. It's cool. I'll try and get some stuff in your inventory for next session. All right. I'll move y'all onto the next day, just so that's like a day of shopping done.
Can I do downtown activity during the day?
Yeah.
visit?
Did you buy anything from the shop?
Yeah. Should we just-
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next day and then. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so what I bought was 3 bags of holding, the shadow signet, some snap leaf.
What downtime actions would you like to do?
Gather information on Castian, the devil.
Okay.
As well as, so that's one action. Again, it doesn't have to like. I know I didn't tell you in advance, so no pressure to cover something.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
And then he's going to send some letters to Greg, Snot, and Carius, along with Donnie to Steen and Carius, if she's still there. And then also send a letter to check on if there's any news on the bounty put on his father. So again,
And how are you going to send that? You're going to send that by Raven.
I think so, yeah.
What are you going to say in the letters?
So Scrag and Snot is basically just asking for like an update on what's going on, the situation in Carius, and business dealings. Donya Sistine similar, but just also is she safe? And then the bounty on his father, has he been captured or is he still, in the wind? But again, like you don't have to reply to that.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's cool.
It's gone.
Right, so yeah, I guess going to the sort of Raven Master of within the palace, giving him a few letters. It's you sort of offer to pay, but he says that it's covered for after your help of defending the city. So those letters go off. You don't know whether they'll be delivered or not, but but they're sent. So that's that.
At some point during the week, Cascus and other people can come with them, but just to give the finder Solda if she's in town. Because I can't remember where she said she would be, but she kind of left a bit upset. I think she's where did she say she was going to be? Does anyone remember?
No, I don't remember.
Might and Fine, I think.
Who are you asking? Who are you asking about?
Isolda.
Yeah,
she goes to the Sun District. I've got my notes.
Yeah, she's probably. Yeah, you probably see her walking around the Sun District on the second day. You sort of bump into her. She's looking a bit sullen, just doing some shopping. But she sees you approach and she says, "Oh, hello."
Good afternoon. It is nice to see you. How are you feeling?
I'll survive. How are you?
We'll survive. We're okay. If there is anything you would need from us, I mean, gosh, we have so much. Please do ask. We are here. I know must be hard to have possibly lost your home, and as well.
She kind of looks around and says, "Have you seen Viseri recently?"
I looked to everyone else. I have not seen him.
No, you haven't seen him since he transformed and then said he was going to do some stuff in the city.
Why do you ask, if I may ask?
I haven't seen him. I'm a bit worried.
It must be probably quite strange for him to get used to a new body. He's probably trying to figure it out himself as well.
Yes, well, I always knew this day would come. I just didn't expect it to hit me so hard.
Very understandable. That reminds me, it is a good time to do this. And he kind of rummages in his new bag of holding. And by the way, anyone who doesn't have one has one now. I passed them out at some point. These books. It is from Cadell's basement.
She raises an eyebrow. How did you get that?
I snuck in. Nearly got singed by a drake, but it is all water under the bridge.
What, recently?
Yes. Was she present to hear when he said that? I can't remember.
No, she whispered it in either yours or Hanira's. Sorry, Cadell did. She didn't hear it.
Okay. I think it was Cascus. Before Cadell changed, he asked that I retrieve this for you. I do not know what is in it. It has not been opened. You have no responsibility to tell us what is in there either.
She takes the smooth black box in her hands and sort of looks at it. She says, "This was at Cadell's."
Yes, under his under the floor of his house was a room, a basement room. It had a number of chests and trinkets and things in it, and among it was this box. I think this is what he wanted you to have, but I do not know.
Thank you, Cascus. You can tell on her face that she thinks about opening it there, but then she decides against it and stows it away in her own bag of holding. I'll open it when I'm ready.
Very good, very good. Hey, look at this, Cascus doing something nice. This is a first.
That's weird. I don't like it.
What are you up to today, then?
We are just getting used to the scenery, although I'm not very good at seeing past 30 feet. We've done some shopping. There is also some more stuff on the Cadell basement. I would not advise now, but in the future, maybe we should go and have a look. Just please do not open the latch to the cellar. It is booby-trapped.
It's far too dangerous to go to Lunarion now.
Oh no, of course now. I do not think you should go now. That would be ridiculous. But in the future, when hopefully somebody has sorted this out, you may wish to return.
Yes. She says she looks up at the sky ships that are still circling or sort of stationary in the air above the Palace of the Prophet, and she says, "So when are you going to the Gloom then?"
Well, we have this business with Henning's trial to conclude, and the worst prince in all of Ortheid to deal with, and the Tempest brand, which is still worse than the prince. I probably hate them more. Once that is concluded, we will look to go to the Gloom.
Well, I hope it's safe for you. It seems like an utter nightmare up there.
Yes, indeed. I do not pretend to be slightly glad that I cannot see it. Occasionally I catch people staring at it, and it is never a look of wonder.
She says, "Very well. Go on."
What will you do? I hope you will stay safe. We know very well enough at this point the people who own the ships. They are safe, relatively speaking. You should seek safe passage somewhere.
She says, well, since Lunarion was overtaken, the Savast doesn't really exist anymore. So those who have influence have set up shop here. But since Cadell, I fear that I've been pushed out.
You still believe in the mission, no?
I do, but I put myself forward for a mission up to go to the High Tower, where the Scions Arai are. Hopefully, just catch them up on everything. It seems that we're going to need them and their help.
It's the High Tower.
When are you looking to go there?
I'm not sure yet. It's going to be a bit of a journey. The High Tower, if you go on the Adana map,
It's up the top.
yeah, it's up at the top. It's up here.
Oh, right. Okay, it's up there.
She says, I am not entirely sure yet when I'm going to be going. Maybe when it's safer. For travelling on both the seas and the roads are not entirely the safest at the moment. The seas have always been choppy up in the north, and going by boat is particularly dangerous. But going by land is not feasible at the moment. I might try and make my way from city to city, see how far I get.
It might
I'm
be.
not, I'm in no rush.
We might be headed up that way at some point ourselves. Maybe we can keep you company.
I assume that's after you go to the Gloom.
Probably, yeah.
Well, I fear that I might not have that much time. It depends how long you're going to be there for, and I doubt you know how long either.
In and out, fix this shit, and then casual trip up north.
Well, perhaps if there's space, I can come with you. Then on the way back, we can get dropped off there. Give me something to do. I think Vasiri was saying that he was keen on going with you, but I don't know if that's going to happen if he doesn't turn up.
To the Gloom.
Turn up. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's a good question.
Sorry, if Syria was wanting to come with us to the Gloom.
Well, he has better knowledge of the Gloom than most.
True.
But to be perfectly frank, I don't know whether to trust him or not yet.
It's like a stranger with the memories of your friend.
Right.
It's an awkward one.
And although I know that Cadel's still somewhere deep within that heart of his, I know he's done bad things before.
Well, sleep on it. It has only been a day. And time has a wonderful way of making even the worst things to ever happen to somebody feel slightly less terrible.
I suppose so.
It is
Well-
from my experience.
Yeah.
I have lost friends.
It's the joy of a shit memory. Takes the edge off over time.
She says, "Are you right, Calcifer? You sound a bit ill."
I've been buying a lot of stuff from merchants, and oh fuck, they like to talk. My voice is getting a bit hoarse.
Understandable.
Did you know he got a discount because he also did this thing I learned called smoldering? So he
Wait,
gave
that was
this...
that was a discount. I paid a 50% premium for most of this shit.
I mean, it's like your low gravelly voice and a bit of a smolder. You know. It works.
Well, there's certain times to buy and there's certain times to sell, and everyone's in a selling mood at the moment. Anyway, I'll catch up with you at some point. I'll be around in the gallery for the trial, so I'm sure I'll see you soon. If we don't bump into each other again.
All right.
Righto. Well, it was good to see you. Take care.
Yeah, she nods and then sort of saunters away. You see that as she goes down the road, if you're stopping and watching her walk away, she sort of like looks in the bag of holding and takes the box out for a second, just sort of inspects it and then puts it away and walks away.
You know, I was feeling warm and fuzzy about feeling good now, but for half a second I wondered whether or not we should just cry on her for the next 6 hours to see what is in that box.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to know, but also, like, you know.
Yeah. Shrugs his shoulder and kind of turns away.
Nix is like, you guys.
If it's important, she'll tell us, right? If we
not.
need to know.
It's probably just private, Nix says.
Well, I am all
Maybe
full of
maybe
good
it's a
cards.
letter.
Perhaps. I do not know.
Yeah, I mean, you'd feel pretty shit about it if you read it and it was just, Cadell pouring his heart out and no spice.
No spice.
Sorry, I've been talking to the merchants around here. They've got some weird lingo.
Space. All right. So, yeah. What downtime activities does everyone want to do?
I would like.
Oh, by the way, sorry, Cascus, you mentioned gathering information, didn't you?
Do I need to do a roll for that, I presume?
Yeah. So I guess just it depends what you're doing. Like if you're trying to research Castian, then it'll probably be like religion or occult, or if you wanted to ask people about
It
him.
was kind of both, because like there's one side of it where it's like clearly he's built relationships with people in the city. Because he was at the balls and the various things. Maybe they'll say, "Oh, I have no idea who he is," and that'd be himself. And then there's the other side, which is like learning a bit more about like structure of like devils. Like I don't know if there's any lore on it or anything.
Okay.
But again, it doesn't have to be immediate noting.
Yeah. What would you like to do for at least today?
So I'll do the first half first. Actually, no, I'll do the second half because that might be more useful because there might be signs or anything. Yeah. So he'll kind of head over to, I don't know, a library of some description or a church or I don't know, whatever it would be. He can ask around.
Yeah, there's like an archives in the Sanctuary of Light.
Excellent. He will go there and do some research on that.
All right, so heading over to the Sanctuary of Light, the temple. I'm not sure if you've been in here before, but the temple itself is made of a kind of white stone, like the rest of the buildings in the city, but with these green domed roofs, which sort of are slightly translucent, almost like there's some sort of like naturally forming gem or rock of some sort that sort of half lets the light in. So as you enter the temple, everything is bathed in a green glow, about which there is a huge statue of Eretzar in the center, atop a fountain, which kind of like drops into the floor, with kind of wooden and stone walkways around it. A whole number of priests are sort of doing their daily rounds and routines, going from between the kind of healing wards, which are currently filled with soldiers who are recovering after their wounds. The occasional flash of green / radiant healing light filling the archways that sort of goes out into the main thoroughfare. But following it down into the sort of caverns below, eventually it opens up into a absolutely huge library where there are rows and rows of books, sort of built into indents within the cavern walls, lit by kind of arcane lamps. The priests, silent, some of them studying at tables that are scattered around, and some of them are sort of taking out books and just rubbing the dust off, maintaining them. Some people spining and binding the books themselves. And then there's rows and rows and rows of priests who are hand writing books out. And they seem to be copying them, not necessarily like writing them, but just they've got a book in front of them, and then they've got maybe 3 or 4 pages, 3 or 4 other books that they're sort of writing a line on each at a time, and then sort of hand copying them by hand. A very long process, which is likely to take them a while, especially with the size of these Sidam books. But sort of looking around, just make me a religion or an arcana or an occult check. Sorry, just to sort of see what you discover from learning about devils.
Where can I find my thing? Where am I being silly? Devils.
Wouldn't that just be religion? I always thought that occult was like eldritch stuff in Pathfinder. Like,
I'm gonna
occult is like pretty much anything that's not necessarily a sanctioned kind of religious sort of mythology,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
I suppose
So-
also like, considering he's a thingy-majiggy, like his class and
Yeah,
by
yeah.
definition.
So devils and demons and stuff definitely fall into a cult.
Okay.
So all right, 33. So having a look around the around the archives, just a sec, just getting some ambience in there. The flickering of the arcane lights sort of wrap around you as you go from bookshelf to bookshelf, getting lost in the jungle of leather-bound pages. It seems to be obviously a lot of the books are written in Sidon, which is going to be a potential issue. But assuming that you have some method of translating it or someone with you who might be able to help you, it's sort of in an alphabetical order, most of them. So you start with A, you go to D for devils, demons, or whatever.
What language is it in?
I might need to take
It's
an air with me.
it's in Elvish, so like Sidon.
Oh,
might need-
well, you can always.
Can I borrow you, please?
Yes, I would like to go to the library as well. Even though
Okay.
I know Mike hates it when we go to the library.
To the library.
Hey, look, I did have
Oh,
another.
not this again.
Wait, hey, look, no, we are doing another round where we're talking to people next time for the devil stuff. That's fine.
Do you want to assist on that, Hanera, then?
Yes.
You can do a religion or an occultism as a aid.
Look at that.
Oh,
Two
another
nat
natural
20s in a row.
Okay.
Very nice.
Is that a +2? Because it's
Uh,
over 30.
Yeah,
Would it be a +3?
yeah.
Because
No.
it's
I think
Can it not go up to...
yeah, success is +1, crit success is +2.
Oh, I don't think
Yeah,
that's...
you can't like double crit, unfortunately. All right then. In that case, 35. So yeah, going from devils and demons, you can't quite find anything that's relevant, and then as you sort of just keep scouring the bookshelves, eventually you come to a dusty book right at the far end of the library, sort of in the more neglected section, I suppose. Right under Z. A book which is entitled Zadmirian.
Oh.
Kind of pricks up your curiosity because that is what Castian mentioned to you
right, yeah.
when he either last spoke or first spoke to you. I can't remember.
It was when he most recently spoke. He said it.
Yeah. It seems to be a book about a myth. About a character who remains nameless. That is sort of written as a warning to those who want to encounter devils or to stay away from Zadmirian. It describes Zadmirian as a place of hellish justice, where devils and demons are put to trial. And those who have committed the highest crimes against devilry are their cases heard. Let me just try and find. Sorry, since my obsidian messed up, it's all my older notes, so a bit harder to find. At the
That's
moment.
fine. Again, I've jumped this on you, so there is no pressure to.
No, it's cool. Where are we? Places. Yeah, because I've got it all on my Google Drive. It's just not as easily laid out anymore. Actions. I'm just trying to find the name of the person who's the leader of it. Have you got that in your notes?
Let me have a look.
Here we go.
No.
All right. Okay, I've got something for you to read.
Oh, Lady Salan. I've got
Yeah, Lady Selin.
Selen, sorry.
Yeah, I've got it. Let me just double check this to make sure there's no spoilers in here. Okay, yeah, this is the sort of information that you glean about Zadmirian from that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. I won't necessarily read that out unless people want me to.
Well, Hinera will be translating that for you, so
Yeah.
feel free to read it out
Hmm.
if you want for the stream.
Want to do it, Ryan, or do you want me to do it?
Oh, yeah, I can do it. Zadmirian, also known as the Lawless Halls of Justice, is a devil realm in the Hells, ruled by Lady Salen. Her red magistrates serve judgment on those they deem to be making unjust deals. They prey on greedy merchants and lords who put their interests above those of their family, people, and dependents, damning them to soul torture as a final punishment. The punishments are not infinite. Unlike the teachings of the Pentasta, who warn of the lawless halls of justice's immortal wrath, but the punishments are often doled out by the century. After a soul punishment is served, the convicted are allowed to either serve in the lawless halls of justice as a red magistrate, forgiven of all crimes and serving Lady Salen for eternity, or are sent to walk the plains of Rada Laura for all time, as a wraith, toyed and feasted as a wraith, toyed and feasted on by the demons who live there. You can do the other half.
Thank you. Lady Selin's territory only encompasses just one city, stranded on a shard of rock orbiting Rada Alora. From her vantage point, she is hopelessly outnumbered by the hordes of demons below, who live in the once Fey world. They have survived thus long by pitting the demon warlords against each other, using their warlike natures against each other. Lady Salen is a Titan survivor of the fall of Tal, but it is unclear whether she was involved in the Titan Wars. Nevertheless, she is curious and familiar with Earth, potentially because of its extremely competitive and potentially unjust creatures, where she can get a steady supply of souls. Well, that sounds rather cheery, doesn't it, Inira? Cascus kind of unbuttons his top because he's got this mark in the middle that was pressed in on him when he made the deal. What is the logo? What is there like a sim? Is there like a sim? Like, is the book just text, or is there like icons and like sketches and things in it as well?
Yeah, so the seal kind of just looks like a burn, but if you were to trace the actual lines of the seal, it looks it's like a brand.
Yeah.
And as you look, it seems to be of a number of buildings just floating on a rock almost, like on fire. So it's like a few kind of towering buildings on some sort of floating rock, and then there's like a flame around it.
Cool.
As you compare it to the one of the symbols found within the pages, it seems to be a match, and that is the seal of Zadmirian.
Well, there you go. It looks like I have sold my soul to the devil of devils.
You're a fool. But we all sell our souls to something.
Indeed. I hope not to go there, but I
Doesn't sound
fear
like
if
you have much choice.
I fear if I do not send my father there soon, I will be in trouble. Hey, look, I have done my part. There is a bounty on his head. Alive.
There's a
Yeah.
flicker of light behind one of the bookshelves, and you hear feet moving around the corner, and you see Castian walk around the corner. He looks at the book in your hand, and then looks at you with your unbuttoned shirt, comparing the seal to the book, and he laughs and says, I wondered when you'd find that one. I wrote that.
You know, I wouldn't have to ask so many questions if you weren't so cryptic half the time.
Well, I only answer questions that have meaning.
Can Hinera see him?
Yeah. Yeah,
Ah.
he seems like in his disguise, a fairly handsome, pale elf, with kind of long white hair. He's got like a flicker of red in his eyes, as he sort of is wearing like a very dashing kind of long silk coat, almost like a smoking jacket, you know. With like a sash around it. He's just holding like a glass of what seems to be some sort of alcohol, as he's just appeared before you.
Thanks for the assistance, by the way. You'll be glad to know your lady's fire burned a bit of a hole through Kaidus's camp.
Indeed. Unfortunately, Lady Sullen has no idea what the hell either of us are doing.
Well, I'm not trying to gain her favor, if that is what you're after asking.
Oh, it's all right. The deal was between us. I'm just invested in the power that Lady Sullen has granted me.
That she is not able to expend any further.
Unfortunately, you're only stuck with me for now. But don't worry, by the time this gloom stuff is sorted, Lady Sullen will ask for an update, I'm sure.
You know, I have sent a kit out on him. You probably just heard it. I am hoping for news soon that he is captured. At which point you may do as you wish with him.
Should I go over what the deal we made was again?
You can, from what I understand. You asked for my father's soul in return for power.
I asked for you to take your father's soul.
Well, I knew that was what was said, but I chose to ignore that in the hope that you forgot that bit.
he winks and says, "How often do you think that works with the devil?"
Well, you know, it is worth a try. One, you know, devil, I'm sure once in a blue moon makes a mistake. Yeah. So you want me to take his soul? By the way, Hinir, you do know about this, I think, anyway. But
Is this just happening? I can just see all this.
Yeah, they're just talking to each
Is
other.
does this guy like appear like a devil, or is he just some guy?
He just looks like an elf to you.
Okay.
Cascus, in your perception, like he looks like a devil, like kind of overlaid. Like you can tell he's disguised, but there's like a sort of invisible fire raging around him, that's sort of revealing his more devil form, which is like probably 2 or 3 feet taller. You know, horns, spiky tail, all that stuff.
yeah, I'm not that head about him. I mean, everything's been bathed in fire for the last like
Yeah,
3 months at this point. It's pretty horrifying. So why have you graced presence here?
Just reminding you of your duty.
Well,
I have a lot wrapped up in this investment.
well, our Khmer has been a bad man, and he will get what is due.
I'll get, indeed, the devil always gets his due.
Quite.
But I'm still working out whether that's going to be him, or it'll be you.
No, do not worry about that. I have told you know I cannot find him right now. Potentially, I am stuck here in this gloom thing.
I think you might have spooked him. To give you a heads up.
Is that coming from a place of knowledge, or are you speculating?
It's knowledge.
Very good. Does he know that I put the hit on his life?
Yes.
Wonderful. You know, it is he used to put things similar like that to me. Obviously, he didn't want me dead, but he a couple of times sent hunters to find me. And because of things I was doing. It is a little bit satisfying to see the it the other way around.
Your family relationships are none of my business. Your father made the deal.
I know.
I just gave you the choice.
Mm.
We are not unfair, if anything. But remember what is the agreement. If your father's soul is not brought to Lady Selin, then unfortunately you will have to serve her.
And how does one bring their soul to Lady Selin? Can I just kill him, or do I need to drag him down to some hell?
Once you have him in your hands, I will do the rest.
Okay. Well, this has been very instructive. You see, I was going to spend the whole of tomorrow trying to understand how you infiltrated this city in the first place. I'll ask you the question here while you are here.
How?
Yes. You just
Well, an elf bearing gifts. I suppose I just know what people want. And they're a lot more likely to trust those who know what people want.
Are there others in the city who have fallen prey to your deals?
He looks at you and rubs his chin, overtly deciding whether he just wants to tell you or not.
I'm smiling.
And after a while he says, yes.
Ooh. But let me guess, you're not going to tell me any details any more than that. You want me to ponder, to think, for you to hold a little bit of power over me. Hmm?
I don't think I hold power over you.
Well, you have this deal, no? Devils love to hold power over people. It is all they do.
Not power, Cascus. I thought you would have known this from your business dealings. It's called leverage. You have something I want, and I have a contract.
I'm pretty sure that is just power, no?
Power for the sake of power means nothing. Power for the sake of order. That is what our business is.
Okay, you can dress it in salad dressing and a bit of tomato sauce stuff, but it is all the same to me.
He's obviously just entertaining himself, tormenting you. You know our agreement, Cascus. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. But I would say I'm busy, but I'm really not.
Excellent. Well, I will bother you all the time with my questions.
Unfortunately, when you go to the gloom, you will not be able to bother me as much.
Oh, that is a shame. I would love nothing more than to put you in combat with Assassin in Yellow.
Well, unfortunately, I suppose I am here to also ask for a favor.
Right now, you're already asking for one.
What's that? What favor have I been asking for?
My father's soul. You can say it is a deal and it is consensual, but it's a favor.
Your father's soul is of absolutely no significance to me. It's
Yes.
one of my many investments. If one investment goes bad, then I have a deposit.
Okay, what do you want?
As I said, I can't go to the gloom. There is something in the nature of the area which stops my kind from entering. But there is one who can. Your friend, Visuri, I guess his name is.
That's correct.
Indeed.
I mean, no. I have no idea what you're on about.
He laughs and says, "Are you really going to lie to me?"
I can try.
Visiri is a very interesting kind of demon. He is from a realm made of things similar to the gloom. You can ask him about that when you next see him. But he is currently spoken for as well, and he has not been fulfilling his duties.
Okay. Well, it would be useful to know more about what his duties are in order to do something about it.
There is a prison within the gloom. A prison that currently inhabits a creature known as Vesh. Once you deal with Vesh, as I assume is your plan, I need you to put Viseri in there.
In the prison?
Indeed.
I looked to Hanera just kind of back and forth.
I uncomfortably smile. Grimace.
Last I spoke to Lady Selin, the plane known as Rada Alora, the realm in which Zadmirian orbits, ever since the defeat of Ashigal, 40 or so years ago, has fallen to absolute chaos. A number of demon lords have decided to make an alliance. And each of them all claim Ashigal's most prized possession, which is the last Rakshasa. It is imperative that none of those demons get their hands on him. And the gloom is the perfect place to place him.
But how do you benefit from locking him up?
Because if your friend Viseri was to come in to the possession of one of these demon lords after the gloom is gone and dealt with, Zadmirian would fall. Quite possibly. He has more power than you can possibly reckon. A truly immortal being. Cursed to have such power. It was through Ashigal's ownership of Tarash, the Rakshasa, whom you know as Cadell and Viseri, that he was able to control the whole of Rada Alora with an iron fist. And during those times, Zadmirian was subjugated, somewhat, I guess you could say.
By Codell. You're telling me Codell, 6 feet tall, little weird, subjugated all of Hells.
Ashigal knew how to work with such a powerful being, which worked for us that he was then soon defeated.
Question: Who is Viseri? Is he in cahoots with anyone at the moment?
I don't know that. Unfortunately, I am unable to track him down as well. It's down to you to get this done.
Great. Well, I'm sure he will like this, and I'm sure it will have no consequences anywhere. And why do I have to do this? I mean, I do not have to. It is a favor, no? But you are not offering me anything.
Fine. What would you like?
He sits back in his chair. What would I like?
If the rest of the party want to be here as well, you're welcome to hop in.
Oh, hello, friends. This is my. I knew you just went out for toilet breaks one after the other. You must have been quite long. Saying to Cyan, Henning, and
Yeah.
Kasper.
Did any of you want to be here as well, or it's your choice?
I don't think Casper would.
Okay.
Henning would like to find out more about the Tempest brand, if there's anything of that in the library.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll come back. We'll come back to you in a sec then. Yeah, Cascas.
I do. May I think on it?
Well, unfortunately, this is a. You won't have much time to make this decision because I won't be able to be in contact with you after you go to the gloom. So
No, this would be in the next few days. I just have a
feel
think.
free.
Feel free to have a think what you might want. But remember, this is imperative. And if I have to make your life a misery, I will.
I see. Well, I understand the threat to me.
Good. Castian turns around and sort of looks over his shoulder before he disappears. And says, and remember, I'm always watching.
That is not creepy at all.
He vanishes.
Kind of like Cascus turns on his chair, looks up at Hanera. Just kind of looks at her.
I don't know. I don't want to be involved, honestly.
What? You have to be. You
Ah!
are my. We are friends.
How
We
you-
look out for each other. That is what friends do, no?
When did you last look out for me?
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Well, there was that one time where I healed you when you went down.
Mhm.
We
Yeah, I have
definitely-
also healed you quite a few times as well.
Was that the time that you put her down?
Well, it was, but I wasn't. I was leaving that point out, Richard. um, we have gone on adventures together. We have made friends. We have broken bread. These are sacred things. And as a result, I would like to ask for your advice. Because I think we are
Okay.
have to. Am I to just ignore this? If we do, get there will be fine. But I might not be.
I think you should just kill your dad.
Oh.
A priest walks past and just hears her say that.
All right, we'll go to Henning and Calcifer.
Yeah.
So you two wanted to have a look around, where the Tempest Brand was staying, or learn about them. Or...
Well, I wanted to try and learn more about them, whether that's in the library reading a book if they've got any, or going.
Yeah, it's quite hard to learn
spying on
specific.
them.
Yeah, so I'll say that it'll be hard to find information here in this city about the Tempest Brand, obviously because they're not native to this area, but as you're sort of walking around, you going past the Head's Heavy Rest, and in which you stayed at before, you do notice a number of Tempest Brand soldiers sort of kicking back and relaxing. You notice that they seem battle ready even when they are drinking and sort of taking some time off. They're wearing their armor. They're not really speaking too much to the elves who are around, and a lot of the other patrons of the inn seem to regard them with suspicion. Obviously, I assume you're trying to stay kind of out of their line of sight.
Yeah, maybe put his hood up or something on his.
Okay.
Hood up or something.
Make a perception check for me. You see, so sort of watching from a little distance away, you see a number of them. You realize that even though they're sat outside the inn, and there's maybe a couple more who walk in and out, the whole inn isn't filled with Tempest Brand soldiers. They seem maybe spread around the city quite a lot. But something that catches your eye, which otherwise might have passed it, where you notice that someone you recognize is sort of walked into the inn, sort of walks past you and then walks into the inn itself. You recognize him as the cabin boy of the ship, Aiden, of the ship that you came across to Adenorin on Vera's ship. He's sort of being escorted by a couple of Tempest Brand soldiers. And if I remember correctly, the last time you saw Aiden was you saved him from Vera.
Yeah.
And you left him in Port Edron.
Yes. So I base the question. Yeah. I'd like to follow them in.
You're gonna go in?
Subtly follow.
Okay, make a stealth check for me. Are you going with them, Calcifer?
No, Calcifer has another thing he wants to do.
Okay, that's fine. So it's just you.
30.
All right, with your hood up and sort of just keeping your head down, not drawing attention to yourself, you walk into the inn, which is fairly busy at this time of day. You notice a number of Tempest Brand soldiers who are sort of occupying the main inn floor. And by a couple of the tables towards the back, Aiden is brought in front of who you now recognise as Lord Inquisitor Kesslin, the High Inquisitor who charged you with the crimes. You overhear them sort of kind of talking very under their breath to each other, and you don't make out everything they're saying, but Lord Inquisitor Kesslin says, "I hope you've rested up, boy. Your evidence will come very in handy." And he says, "I don't know why you're doing this. Henning, he's always been kind to me." And Lord Inquisitor says, "He has something which we need. And if you help us get it, we'll make your life a lot easier. Remember, we can still charge you with crimes related to this investigation." Aiden sort of seems a bit nervous.
I mean,
You can try and move a bit closer if you want, but obviously there's always.
yeah, I mean, he wants to try and sit down, preferably like as close as he can, like without them noticing he's there, just so he can
Alright.
listen in on what's being said.
All right, make another stealth check for me then.
23.
Okay, so as you make your way across the inn, just keeping your head down, you accidentally bump into a Tempest Brand soldier, sort of knocking him back a little bit, and he spills a bit of his drink. He turns around and says, "Watch it!" A few people look up at you, and as you go and sit down, you notice that Lord Inquisitor Kessler is just staring directly at you as you go and sit down.
Afternoon.
He looks over at you and says, "A very brazen attempt, if I may say so myself."
I don't know what you mean. I'm just here for a drink. I'm allowed to do that. I haven't left the city.
Indeed. And you are protected by the Padron.
I am, and therefore you cannot touch me currently, and I'm allowed to sit here and drink.
Indeed. Aiden sort of looks over to you and sort of whispers, "I'm sorry."
Henning glares back.
Kesslin says, "It's better we take this upstairs. Too many people around. Come on, boy." And a couple of the soldiers escort him upstairs.
Guess Henning's just going to leave and try and regroup with everyone.
Cool. All right. So I guess you're going to go meet them at the temple then.
Yeah.
So Calcifer, what are you doing?
So Calcifer would like to kind of spend some time looking over the shade steel and trying to sort of figure out the mechanics of it and how it might potentially work or not work with non-elves / non-humanoids.
So interestingly, as you, I guess maybe on the ship, just with a bit of privacy.
Yeah.
Just on a table in front of you, the shade steel itself, as you take it out of the bag of holding, it's heavy. But interestingly, when it doesn't seem like a normal plate of armor. It almost seems to be malleable and flexible when it's not being used. It still harbors the kind of same silvery golden sheen to it with the patterns, the ancient patterns sort of welded into it.
and engraved into it. But as you sort of look at it and run your hands around it, it's almost got like a kind of Newtonian fluid to it, or feeling to it, almost as if like when you press it harder, it sort of hardens up.
It's like a shock absorbing type thing.
Yeah, and it seems to, weirdly, as you sort of hover your hand over it, it seems to almost kind of reach up toward, almost as if it wants to sort of be absorbed into you, or like, you know, it sort of is almost like slightly reaching up from the table as you hold your hand over it. If you want to, you can spend a day to attune yourself to it. Give it a try.
Yeah, might as well. I can hide it when I've attuned to it, so well, assuming it doesn't get stuck on.
Yeah,
if it does,
so
then I guess I can stay on the ship.
So you take your other armor off, and just in your kind of undergarments, start the process. You know, you put the plate over your shoulders and your chest, and you feel it kind of expand, almost like a sweater as you kind of put it on. And then as it attaches itself to you, it suddenly hardens up. Same with the plate legs, and all you've got left is the helmet. So you've got to sit with the armor on, kind of meditating for basically like a few hours to attune yourself to it. So
Okay.
So as you put the helmet on, you feel it kind of like attach like a second skin over your head.
Yeah.
And sitting there, you sort of get, you know, at first you can't see that much through it. There's only a couple of slits, but as you sit and get more and more used to the armor being on your body, it begins to sort of change in size and appearance to sort of more reflect your body shape. And you notice that, like, as you look in the mirror, it seems to be going from a kind of the silvery gold appearance of the Shadesteel armor when it's on elves, and seems to be changing into something different entirely. Almost a kind of dark brown, like almost like maybe like an ebony. Where instead of metal, it starts to take the appearance of wood. The shoulder pauldrons, you know, get bigger and bigger and sort of engulf the upper side, tops of your shoulders, and even though it sort of still shimmers in the light, and it still has a kind of like, it has raised etching and indentations, it doesn't seem to have like an elven appearance about it. Almost seems to have like an orcish look to it, like small little spikes appearing on the shoulder pauldrons and down your back. And then after you feel fully attuned to it, after a couple of hours, you suddenly get like a flash, like a vision in your mind of memories of like being in battle. And you suddenly get this kind of like eager thrill, which kind of overcomes you. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, the entire armor vanishes on top of you. It just sort of disappears into like sort of almost like a mist as it vanishes.
Am I able to conjure it back?
Yeah, so you take a bit of time to sort of focus, and you realize that the way that you conjure it is that you kind of think about battle and like how it feels to be in the midst of a battle, and then suddenly it reappears on you. It just like vanishes out of nowhere.
Manifest the armor.
Okay. So, I would like to take a second set and summon Hank and see if I can make it work.
Okay. Hank gives it a sniff. You sort of
start the process of trying to put it onto Hank. Roll me a d20.
16.
All right, so it does stretch over Hank's body, and begins to mold to his form. As you put the mask on, Hank seems like, I guess, a bit like, oh, what the hell are you doing? As you try to like put the mask over his head. But after a little bit of calming, he goes along with it. And after a couple of hours, it does the same thing. It vanishes off him. The appearance of the armor, it seems to be slightly different. Like it seems to resemble more the elven look of the armor. Like it does look like metal plates, and it doesn't. Even though it like sort of fully engulfs Hank, it hugs his form very well, and it covers him in kind of smooth armor, which goes all the way down to his paws, and seems to even engulf his paws on the ground.
Cool.
But yeah, that works.
Nice. Wasn't expecting that to work. Cool. Result, yeah. That's me done.
So is there anything else anyone wants to do this week?
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry, go.
I wanted to try and I want to learn more about Phoenix. Phoenix. I don't want to just go to the library, but maybe because the house Valoran has a phoenix, maybe in and around the castle there might be some books or even like old stories and stuff to do with Phoenix and things. Just I wanted to go and read, and also I want to check out the Patroners.
Sure. Okay. Let me move you to the next couple. Let me say that I'll move you a couple of days forward now. Then. So Phoenixes. Yeah, make a diplomacy check for me then. If you're gonna just be asking around.
It's random people.
It will do. Oh, that's 38.
So, upon speaking to people, a lot of people don't really know much about phoenixes at all, and they won't let you in to see the Padron.
Okay, that's fine.
Padron's still recovering, but as you're sort of asking around, one of the nobles in the palace, they sort of say, "Phoenix? I don't know anything about that." And as you walk off, one of the palace staff comes up to you and says, "I know a story about phoenixes.
Oh, great.
It's
to
well, it's just something I remembered from my childhood, but I don't remember the entire story. But effectively, that it used to be said that the phoenix was the creator of light in Erd, long before the days of the gods, when the elements and the elemental forces ruled Erd. There was no sun. And one day, the elemental forces of darkness, who lived in Erd, came to rule the entire world. And it was a single phoenix who raised up into the sky and became the sun. And that's what's brought light to Erd and made it habitable, I suppose. It's what allowed the elemental forces of darkness to be vanquished, and then it was the other elemental forces which came into power.
Right. That's very interesting. Thank you. How is the Padron?
Oh, I just work in the kitchens. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you must have heard something, right?
The royal family are being very hush hush about his health at the moment.
Oh, okay. What about Pulphisius?
Prince Orthisius is taking on many of the royal duties. He has been named as Keel, as the right hand of the Padron. So he is hearing many of the petitions of the people of the city in the palace.
Oh, wonderful. Maybe
It's part of
I'll
his daily duties.
set up a lunch with him and Alora to catch up on old times. Thank you. And I will go try and do that. I don't need to roleplay it. I just thought we'll try and set up some like lunch where we can chat about elf family stuff and gossip.
Yeah, that's
lighthearted.
sure. That's cool. What I'll do for the sake of time, well, let's have a break here, and then we'll, Joanne, we'll go over what you talk with Halcysius about between sessions, and then
Yeah,
we'll do the trial when we're back. Yeah, because
I don't. I wasn't going to talk about anything specific. It was
no,
just
that's
a
cool. That's
chat.
fine. That's all right. All right. We'll come back
Building
in
relations, I believe it's called.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll come back in 15 minutes then. Yeah.
All right, see you in a bit.
All right. See you in a bit. Hello and welcome back. So just before the break, the party were doing some downtime stuff, just learning about various things. So I need to put the music back on, don't I? All right. So I guess we'll just go into coming towards the end of the downtime. Is there any last bits anyone wants to do? This is
Deal? Just
don't
quickly.
know how.
Should
Sorry.
we do the
Oh
double?
yeah, sure. Okay, so at some point during the week, during the night, you are visited once again by Castian, who appears before you at the just before you go to sleep. He sits at the end of your bed and says, "Have you given it much thought as to what your terms of the bargain are?"
You know, your bedside manner is atrocious, but I have done some thought. Sits up in his bed. I guess no one else is in this room necessarily.
It's just
Or
you.
other people.
Yeah.
I have I would like to have an anagram of your name to understand a bit of the real you in exchange for this favor, because this is a big ask. You are asking me to betray a friendship that I have had for some time, that is of great importance to Zadmiriel, your lady, and yourself, and by extension me.
And that will be your price?
Well, it sounds like you're going to make me do this one way or the other.
There's one thing that devils can't do, and it is make you do anything that you don't want to do. But remember, if you sign a bargain...
Yes, I better do it, otherwise my soul is forfeit or da 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 da. Well, in that case, I did not quite realize the... I would like to keep you hanging then for a little bit longer. I would like to consult.
Consult?
Yes, with my my friends. We are a group nonetheless, and I've... Let's just say I would not have much of a group left if I suddenly threw one of our friends into prison without telling them first that it was going to happen.
Well, I suppose we could sign the deal before you go.
Excellent.
Fine. I will say, if you wish to have an anagram of my name, I'm willing to pay that price.
I would also like to be able to make deals with other people. He kind of nods and smiles to himself at the thought.
Make deals?
Oh, yes. Like you do with me, you know, you have a contract somewhere probably with my name on it that I signed. Well, I know I signed it, I was there.
You are not a devil, Cascus.
You can write them on my behalf if I want somebody to.
Very well.
Is he giving anything away with this?
Make an insight check.
With these two? He might be going, damn, this guy's so cheap. like I could just give him, you know. Hold on. Insight. It's deception, is it? No. Is it deception?
It would be diplomacy. Perception, sorry. Just perception.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. It's a 34.
When you said to him the power to make deals, he sort of the cogs in his head were clearly turning as to how that might be possible. You suspect that he will try and stiff you somehow.
On both of them, or just that bit?
Probably on everything he can.
Okay, well, I will keep that in mind. We have not signed anything yet, but think on it, and I may give other ideas.
Very well. And he vanishes.
That's fine.
All right, so let's go to the day of the trial then, shall we?
Mhm.
All right, so the week has passed.
and you are awoken in the morning to a large crowd which has appeared amongst the palace grounds. A few soldiers have been sent to just make sure the crowd doesn't devolve into absolute chaos. But you also see a large number of Tempest Brand soldiers who are also doing a similar thing. A large retinue of Garenia troops stand in the grounds, ready to escort you, Henning, to the trial. Hanira says, not Hanira, sorry, Morna says, remember, if you need me, just ask.
Thank you.
And don't forget you did learn teleport.
I have learned teleport.
Uh-huh.
And it is correct.
Shush. Don't do
That's
that.
sweet.
You mean the spell that takes 10 minutes to cast?
It was the only one that he could learn. We tried. All of them.
Well, I've not
No, I've dimension door, translocate.
Yeah, no, we tried that. He couldn't learn it.
Oh. Good luck.
Didn't roll
Tried,
high.
Richard, okay?
All right, so are you all going to go into the hall as well, or are you going to not go in? It's
I
your
think so.
choice.
Well, I will.
I think there's a footy game on.
I understand.
It's a elf ball, you know.
All right.
No worries.
So as you leave the skyship Blackjack and enter the palace grounds, you walk through the crowds who are obviously staring at you. They're not making any kind of judgment towards you, although a few of them seem to turn away when they meet your eye, Henning. I think a lot of people don't quite know what's going to happen. And eventually you enter the large throne room of the Padron, where the room is filled with anticipation and the leering eyes of rich onlookers. The throne of the Padron is currently unoccupied, and sat next to it is a smaller chair, which currently Prince Althisius occupies. And as you enter and the crowds part, revealing the grand hallway of the circular throne room with its marble and gold adorned floors, Prince Althisius stands and says, "Please, all be seated." There's a couple of a couple of tables towards the front near the thrones, where on one side you see Lord Inquisitor Kesslin and a couple of his clerical assistants, and on the other side you see a space for you and your whoever you want to sit with you that can go and sit as well. Otherwise, for those people who don't want to sit at that table, you can just sort of squeeze in somewhere in the gallery, where you can watch from either ahead or on the sides of the room.
Did I help the lawyer prepare?
So it was Sax who was going to help you, right?
Yeah, and I said I was gonna help him learn about the elf law ways.
Yeah, he seemed quite distracted for this week. But you do see him with a large pile of paperwork with his goggles on, sat on the table, just sort of looking. You can go sit next to him if you want.
Yeah, I'll sit next to him. Yay! I'll wave at Henning.
Well, Henning is going to go sit with you as well.
Henning is sitting next to you.
Yeah, so as you approach, Sax sort of turns and looks at you and says, "Good luck, lad."
Thank you.
Prince Althisius says, "Is everyone ready?" He says, "The Lord, our Padron, the heir to the prophecy, and the direct descendant of the family of Eretzar, House of Valoran, has invested me with the power to hold this session. He is currently not feeling so good."
Would you like a perception check on that?
Yeah, you feel free.
perception? Just like
Yeah, do a perception for sense motive.
33.
He's hiding something. You can't quite tell what.
Is the patron dead?
Yeah, don't know. Doesn't seem to be. But
Okay.
you can't currently see him. You also, looking around, you also notice that Zadine Haffendar isn't around as well. His mother, the patron's mother, of course. And Prince Orthysius nods over to Lord Inquisitor Kesslin and says, as the witness and the complainant in this case, Lord Kesslin, you have the first word. So the Lord Inquisitor stands. He's not wearing his armor. He's wearing a sort of quite smart clerical kind of a robe that has a burning T kind of down the back of it. It's like sort of black and red with a flame engraving, flame kind of embossing or whatever it's called, all down the arms, as well as wearing kind of red shoes. He says, "My prince, royal councillors, and all other observers, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to help facilitate this problem we have had since arriving in your gracious land. It is my intention during this trial to prove the following facts. On the 6th day of summer of the year 858, after the founding of the city of Lavar, Henning Dyer did intentionally murder his father, Norman Dyer, by laceration with a sharp object, fleeing the scene shortly after. During our investigation, we discovered a single object missing from his father's possession. It was a book filled with alchemical secrets, many of which was created from the funding of the Tempest brand. We have receipts of Henning's travel in the days after. He took a ship, along with his friend Zeolith, captained by merchant Caraxus Ribel, to the holy city of Lavar. He then stayed for a period of time in the city, under the nose of our authority, residing in a sailor's inn named the Brackish. That is where the two men met a merchant turned pirate named Vera, who convinced them to travel to Adana along with her crew. At some point during the journey, Henning fell overboard and was left for dead, and Zeolith was murdered, and the book was turned over to the pirates. And we have eyewitnesses for this event. Prince Orthysius nods and says, very well. He turns to you, Henning. How do you plead to these charges? Guilty or not guilty?
Henning gives a kind of a look towards the gang and then back again and guilty.
There's a kind of gasp amongst the crowd.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Prince
Oh my
Orthysius says,
God.
then we will take instead the words of the witnesses and the evidence to determine the relevant punishment. Inquisitor Kesslin, and the Inquisitor nods and says, yes, my prince. And Prince Orthysius says, please, provide your first set of evidence. Inquisitor Kesslin swears in a cleric of Titus, who stands from his right. An older figure who seems a bit skeletal in appearance, just very, very thin, almost emaciated, with a bald head, who swears on a copy of Titus's sort of oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Inquisitor Kesslin says, Cleric Nemetsov, you were the cleric on duty at the Port Dalron morgue on the night Norman Dyer was brought in, were you not? Indeed I was, the cleric says. And what checks did you carry out to ascertain the cause of death?
The standard clerical duties, my Inquisitor. Can you tell the court what those duties are? The cleric sort of looks down and almost as if he's trying to remember. He says, I measured the force and the blood spatter of the deceased. Upon discovering the brain was mostly kept intact, I proceeded to cast a Speak with Dead ritual to ascertain the identity of the killer. Inquisitor Castellan says, the Speak with Dead ritual is known to be truthful, is it not? The Inquisitor asks. And that's where Sax steps in and says, objection, my prince. And Prince Orthisius sort of looks to him and says, yes. And Sax says, magic is only reliable in a practiced user. We have no evidence that this user is practiced in magic. Prince Orthisius sort of thinks for a moment and says, overruled. Please, Cleric Nemetsov, continue. Yes, my prince, the cleric says. Bodies without life are unable to lie. I had 3 questions and returned 3 answers. The Inquisitor asks, and your first question was? The cleric takes out his diary and begins to read it. He looks up to the Inquisitor. Do you mind? And the Inquisitor says, of course not. It's good to be accurate. So, reading through his notes, the cleric says, my first question was, who killed you? And the Inquisitor says, and the answer was... the cleric says, Norman Dyer's first response was, my son, Henning, the cleric says. A few of the crowd sort of mutter amongst themselves.
Can we do a perception check on this again?
You go on. Who are you looking at?
Oh, this guy, is he, I mean, is he telling the truth? Or does he look like, does he give the sense that he's telling the full truth? I mean, that's what he heard, but is he just lying? That's why.
Mia, make a perception check.
I will do my other legend point.
Also, would we know that corpses can lie with Speak with Dead?
That's what he said.
Gaskus doesn't. Yeah, but like, I mean, you know, is this iffy? Is my question.
If you're asking a question about the spell itself, you can do an Arcana check, but otherwise.
Well, more. I've done it, so I got 45 because I did a legend point on
it. So the cleric seems to believe what he says.
The cleric seems to believe what he says.
Yeah.
Please, can I do an occult check because it's not an arcane spell?
Mhm.
But is it talking?
Is it the 5e version of it, or is it the Pathfinder version? Is this the North Aid?
Let's just do the Pathfinder version.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's called Talking Corpse in Pathfinder, and it's occult and divine, it's not arcane.
Yeah.
But so I'll do occult if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Objection.
What are you gonna object?
No, I was just saying objection because it's fun.
Okay.
It's funny.
It's fun.
Sorry, I don't do funny actually. All
No,
serious.
It's very serious.
31.
31. Is 4th level spell. Hang on just a sec. Yeah, that is a success. So you know what the spell does.
Great. Am I allowed to intervene or not?
You're allowed to object. You're sat there with Henning, so you're allowed to object, but no one in the gallery is.
I object. As a practicer of some occult arts, and I gesture my instrument so they know that it's a cool one, not an arcane one. I will tell you that it is possible to lie with a talking corpse spell. Is put onto a corpse. You can both lie and refuse to answer questions.
Prince Orthisius sits back and says, the court will introduce Silver Shadow, the head priest of the Sanctuary of Light. And you see Silver Shadow sort of steps forward and bows towards the prince. And he says, Silver Shadow, is this correct? And she says, yes, my prince, it is correct. A corpse is able to lie if they do not like the person who is taking the deposition. Prince Orthe says, okay. I'll tentatively allow it for now. We'll see. He turns back to you, Henning, and says, do you deny that you murdered... You don't deny that you murdered him, though?
I don't deny it. However, it was self-defense. I had no choice.
Very well. Inquisitor says, no more questions for this witness, Prince. And Prince Helthisius turns to you, Henning, and says, do you have any more questions for the witness?
No. No questions from me.
Sax sort of nudges you and says, ask for the other questions he asked. He said 3.
Oh, yes. Sorry, you said you asked 3 questions. What were the other 2?
The cleric sort of looks down at his notes and says, the second question was, why did Henning murder you? And Norman's response was, it was an accident. I hit him first. He snapped. Prince Orthe sort of raises an eyebrow and says, and the third question? The third question was, my prince, why did you attack him? Why did you attack him first? And the answer was, I was mad. I was being blackmailed. I took it out on the only person who ever cared for me.
No further questions from me.
Very well. You may sit, Cleric Nemetsov, and the cleric sort of goes and sits back at into the gallery. And then Prince Orthe says, next witness. And then you see this scruffy, tired-looking cabin boy of Aiden that you saw at the inn is walked out in front of the onlookers. He kind of looks down at his feet as he's paraded down in front of the prince and the inquisitor. Please, boy, Prince Orthe says. Do you know this man? Pointing at you, Henning. Yes, my prince, Aiden says. His name is Henning Dyer. And where did you meet Henning? Sorry, the inquisitor says. And where did you meet Henning? I met him on Vera's ship, Aiden says. I was hired as a cabin boy in Lavar. After I had been in Adna for a while, I met Henning again. He saved me from Vera. And the inquisitor says, and what did you think of Henning when you first met him? I liked him, Aiden says. I tried to warn him. I overheard Vera and Cobb, the quartermaster. They were talking about him. They said he had something they wanted. A book. And what of his friend, Zeolith? The Inquisitor asks. He was rough, Aiden says. He liked to drink and to fight. The crew, they wanted to manufacture something. They thought Henning might be able to be brought over to their side, but Zeolith would have never backed down. And the Inquisitor asks a further question. And this book, did you ever see it? Aiden replies, Henning showed me one evening in his quarters. It was beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. It's full of alchemical potions and diagrams, and some of the pages were missing, though. Henning seemed to be upset by that. The Inquisitor says, did he say where he acquired the book? No, Aiden says. He didn't like to talk about it. No further questions, my prince, Kesselin says. Prince Orthe turns to you. Is there anything you want to ask the witness? Sax turns to you and says, it's your choice, Henning.
Aiden. Are you currently answering these questions under duress and blackmail?
Objection, my prince, Inquisitor Kesselin says. There's no evidence of such thing. And Prince Orthe says, let him answer the question. You will be protected, my boy. And
I'll protect you too, Aiden. Just answer it honestly.
Aiden sort of looks a bit nervous, and after.
I'll pay you £3 million. I don't
I've got more money than them, Aiden. Just tell me.
Aiden says, yes, I am under duress. They told me if I refused, the Inquisitor sort of stands up and says, "This is a farce. You shouldn't let it ask him such questions." And,
No, you're the farce. He's doing this under duress.
Prince Althesius holds out a hand and says, "Order, calm. Don't make me have to drag you all out in chains." What did they specifically say would happen if you did not come with them, Aiden? And Aiden says, They said I would be charged for the murder. And Prince Althesius turns to the Inquisitor and says, "Is this true?" And the Lord Inquisitor says, "I made no such promises, my prince. The boy is lying." And Prince Althesius sits back and says, Well, someone's lying. Do you have any suggestions how we deal with such a thing? It turns to you.
Does it not seem slightly odd that their own witness would be lying against them? It'd be very strange, wouldn't it? It's clearly not lying.
I am partial to believe such a thing as well, Prince Althesius says. Suddenly there's a gasp in the crowd. As a number of Garenia house soldiers begin to part the crowd and kind of move them out the way of the main gallery. As golden-clad soldiers that you recognize as the elite of the Royal Guard begin to make their way through. In their centre, in their midst, a young boy, pallid, tired-looking, with dark bags under his eyes, and his once kind of luscious blonde hair is now a kind of straw white, which is about neck length, with a cane in his hand, sort of like slowly making his way down the walkway. You notice the Padrin. Prince, go on.
I just try and make it so he can see that the ones that rescued him are on this side.
The crowd, as he passes the members of the crowd, they all bow after him, and it's like a sort of almost like a Mexican wave of people bowing as he walks past. As shade steel kind of clad knights with barbed, dangerous-looking weapons sort of protects him. Prince Althesius, as the Padrin sort of enters the main part of the gallery and hobbles up to the throne, Prince Althesius bows deeply and stands aside as the Padrin sits down. Would you like me to update you on the of what's happened so far, Your Honor? And the Padrin waves his hand and says, "What's happened then?" You hear like a small boy's voice, like young, doesn't carry very far. And Prince Althesius sort of whispers in his ear. After a while, the Padrin sort of sits back in his chair and says, "Then I suppose we don't need to hear any further evidence, do we?" The Padrin turns to the Inquisitor and says, "I will hear your final argument and what you are petitioning the Crown to do." And the Inquisitor sort of eyes you and Henning and says, "So, we have evidence and your own admission of the murder of your father, as well as the theft of his property and an attempt and success to flee to another continent. Did you not know that if you had turned yourself into the local authorities, you could have attempted a self-defense plea?
You'd have never have listened. Or believed me.
He turns to the Padron and says, the Crown would do well to allow the Tempest brand to take Henning back to Lavar. Once a method of doing so has been done, where he can face justice for the crime. And then says, no further petition, my Padron. And Sax sort of turns to you and says, what did we want here?
I believe just wanted the Patron have us charge us with fixing this issue with the gloom. He's saying this very quietly in his ear.
Yeah.
He's not saying this loudly. That's what we're aiming for, because we were going to do it anyway.
Yeah, as the Padron turns and asks for what you want, Sax stands sort of vouching for you and says, your liegeship, I would only ask that the Crown allows Henning to serve a period of exile where he may be able to be of some use to the Crown's interests. Namely, helping to solve this problem of the gloom, with the condition that he can then return after such a period has passed, where the gloom is no longer an issue. And the Padron sits back and sort of mulls it over. Prince Hortesius goes and sits down in the chair next to the Padron and sort of just watches him as he mulls it over. And after what seems like a very painstaking amount of time, Padron sort of after a bit of murmuring begins to rise up in the crowd. The Padron sort of holds up his hand, his hand, and sort of silences the crowd who eye him, and says, "It has come to my attention that Henning Dyer, along with his companions, did a great service in helping to defend this city. As so did the Tempest brand. It would be hard to claim that either side in this confrontation has the ultimate moral duty or moral responsibility of keeping our city safe, and it is, I think, equally shared amongst them. However," he stands, "it is the Crown's opinion that the foolishness of the Council may not be allowed to continue." He sort of looks at his fingers in a quite cocky manner. "It is time that a Padron asserts his right to control." Prince Hortesius looks a bit nervous here. And says, "So this is what we will do. Crimes which are committed outside of the land of Adana have no responsibility to be charged by this court. And the Council's attempt to strong-arm myself into taking a particular bargain is not acceptable." And he sort of turns and sort of glares at Prince Hortesius. "So, I will allow the Tempest brand custody over Henning Dyer so that they may take out whatever punishment is necessary. Guards." And you see a couple of guards begin to walk up to you.
Henning says in his head, "Right, it's your time to shine, Vance. Out you come."
You're going to hold it. You're going to take out your sword.
I'm going to allow Vance out to speak and give him, make him look a little better.
Mhm.
With
Give
it.
him a
Yeah.
haircut, bit of makeup, fancy dress.
Can we
Mhm.
try
Yeah, but I'm going to draw the sword and let him out so he can say something.
Yeah.
If you try to screw me here, I will screw you twice as hard.
Okay, so as the guards begin to approach you, and as Prince Odysseus is sort of like beckoning to the Padrons, like, stop this nonsense, this is outrageous, and you just see Henning, Lord Inquisitor Kesselin, giving you a wry, sarcastic smile as the guards approach, manifesting out of your hand as you stand there. Like the sword appears in a flash of bright fire, and a silhouette around you of Vance manifests along with it, burning hot in the gallery. You will not touch my chosen, you hear Vance say. He is mine. The guards immediately reel back as the Padron sort of looks in disbelief as Henning's silhouette is merged with Vance, kind of looming over him, and an eerie reminiscence of the mural of Eret Sar, which is visible in the stained glass windows of the Palace of the Prophet. What is this? What madness is this? Both Prince Odysseus and the Padron are saying that. You hear the crowd sort of gasping very loudly and sort of like starting to push back slightly. The Padron says, "Guards, get him!" As one guard sort of steps forward. Are you going to let Vance use his power?
Yeah.
As one of the royal guards steps forward, Vance's fire sort of just engulfs the guard, leaving nothing but a plate of.
Nope. Mike.
And Gold's Mike.
Oh,
shit.
no.
Oh my god!
Mike was the guard.
A large number of the crowd.
Mike,
Oh,
you cut out
yeah,
there
you cut
I
out for a
thought
bit.
you
We
were the
thought
guard who
Vance had got
killed.
you.
Sorry.
We thought Vance had got you cut out.
Can you hear us?
No, kind of. Yeah, sorry, I'm lagging a bit.
Yeah. So we heard that the guard got engulfed and ashed. And then you
Yeah,
cut
the
out.
guard got engulfed in a kind of ring of Vance's fire before turning into a sort of a cloud of ash and dust. The Padron steps back as you can hear Prince Odysseus saying to him, "No, now is not the time." And the Padron sort of says, "Is it really true? The prophecy?" Do you want to say anything, Henning?
A prophecy? Can I do some kind of check to see if I know of a prophecy?
The only prophecy that comes to mind is the prophecy of the return of Eret Sar, where Eret Sar or like a prophet chosen by Zornakar would come back and save. I don't know, but
I suppose, well, these heretics, the Tempest brand, would see it that Adonai falls,
Yes.
slaughter them.
this is what you're gonna say.
Fuck it, why not?
Yes, Alex.
Slaughter them all.
The Lord Inquisitor sort of looks absolutely terrified, as well as Prince Odysseus. Your voice is doubled with Vance's kind of booming, sort of scary voice. As the blade begins to whir with the power of Vance's pent-up anger for being trapped inside your sword. The Padron sort of, in a moment of weakness, just turns and runs away.
Child.
And Prince Althesius sort of half runs after him and turns to the rest of the things and says, and looks back at the royal guard and says, "You heard the prophet. Grab them." And the royal guards begin to just grab the Tempest
He
Brand.
didn't say
troops, and
grab.
He said he said slaughter.
Yeah, well, that's
yeah.
basically what the royal guard are doing. Like the royal guard with their spears and swords begin to run through the Tempest Brand soldiers.
Leave the Inquisitor. That one's mine.
The Lord Inquisitor Kesselin begins to cower behind the chair as the two clerics by his side are dragged away by royal guards. And
would like
a couple.
to-
Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah, Henning would like to walk up to him, grab him by the throat, lift him up, and then blow his head up with Vance's magic.
Is there any last thing you want to say to him?
So, let's whisper his ear. I win.
Okay, so the Lord Inquisitor says, "You made a deal with Eretz Sar."
Yes. Yes, I did.
"You will bring ruin to this world." And then, yeah, I guess he then also turns to dust. There's kind of screaming in the crowd as a few people begin to try and run away. A few people, especially the priests, you notice, begin to be drawn towards you. And after a short moment, you find yourself being surrounded by bowing elves who kneel around you and are kind of like prostrating themselves towards the image of you and Vance before Vance's silhouette begins to flicker away, and the sword sort of remains in your hand. You notice that you're suddenly like a little bit taller because Vance has sort of imposed this sort of I guess it's a sort of thaumaturgy more than like anything else. But then after Vance's form begins to slip away, you feel that you're no longer in control of Vance as you once were.
No.
You hear a voice in your head which is from Vance and says, "You're going to owe me for this."
I know.
But Prince Althesius comes and you notice that he is making his way through the crowd, which is starting to surround you, Henning, trying to sort of touch you, sort of grab your clothes, almost, try and hold on to you, as if you're like a good luck charm. And Prince Althesius sort of, as he pushes his way through, he looks you in the eyes and says, "What have you done, Henning?"
Saved myself is what I've done, and gotten rid of this little Tempest Brand problem you had.
You truly in league with Eretz Sar.
Eric Sar's the only reason I'm not currently in handcuffs. That lot who help you were.
Prince Althesius drops to a knee and bows.
Henning's just gonna enjoy this moment.
Well,
As I guess later on, as you're being led out of the Palace of the Prophet, the word having spread, as well as kind of the sounds of Tempest Brand soldiers who have surrendered themselves in chains, a few of them being kind of ruthlessly slaughtered by a lot of the more fanatic elves that you have now riled up. It's your choice what you do. The Padron has gone, right? Like he's run off and he's not coming out of his room.
So
He sort of locked himself away.
Turn to the rest of the gang.
It's like,
So, what now? Bloom?
I'm just, looking towards the slaughtering happening. It's like, enough?
No. Let them... The Tempest Brand would, they needed to go. It's the perfect way. We don't even have to get our hands bloody. Plus, no witnesses. They won't even know.
Nix appears and says, "Half the city just saw what happened."
Yes, well, it'll be a while before the Tempest Brand figures it out. I mean, meanwhile, they can't even get here, right? So we've got time.
There will be a price to pay for this, Henning, Nick says. There always is.
Well, till that comes about, perhaps we should focus on this gloom problem, yes?
All right, we'll end there for today. Yeah, that's a good place to end.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks for the sesh.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, it's a bit early, but I thought that was probably a good place to end.
Yeah. All right. See you next week.
All right, thanks for watching, and yeah, not next week.
Oh yeah, week after next week.
Yeah.
Mild. A brief detour from our usual programming.
Yeah,
Okay.
Richard's going to watch My Hero Academia, and that's why we're not playing next week.
Yeah, that's the only
Nice.
reason. All right.
We're
See ya.
his friends.